Hello, everyone. Today we are here with Tiffany Neu from Tread Farm out of Texas. Hello. I am very excited to speak with our first herd from this part of the country.
My name is Tiffany, and I have three girls. All three of my girls, well, my two oldest girls have been showing for a while, and my youngest girl, this is going to be her first year showing, but my daughter's ages are 15, 11, and 8. And we started actually showing animals through 4-H, and we started with market goats. So dairy goats were very new to us, but also goats, so kind of familiar, but also very different. So our livestock show down here, the RGVLS, has a dairy goat division that was started, I think it was 3 years ago. And last year was our first year to compete in it. We kind of did it so that it was something new for us to participate in, but also because of our knowledge of goats, we thought it would be fun. And it was a lot of fun. The girls enjoyed it. It's way different than the market goats. There's not all the crying when we leave because we get to take our animals home. And all these goats have such great personalities, and they really grew on us. So that's how we got started. We wanted to participate. And we actually stupidly did very well at our show for the first year because we had no clue. We were just going to have a good time. And my youngest, or the middle daughter, which was the youngest showing that year, she won grand champion overall with her Nigerian. She was the champion Nigerian. And then my oldest daughter was reserve Nigerian. So we actually did really good. It was a lot of fun. They were hooked, and we decided over the summer we'd go out and find different some more animals, and so that we could start our own little herd and start breeding for show quality and for milking quality. So we reached out to several awesome breeders down here that got us started, and they're very knowledgeable, and they're very good at always helping every time we reach out to them. So that's how we got started. And we do have the Nigerian dwarfs. So
In your area in Texas, do you find that there's much more interest in the meat versus the dairy animals?
Where we are, we're super south. We're very far south. We're like super close to the border. So there's a variety. There's a lot of boar goat breeders down here, but there's also the milking goats are really starting to take off. And I would say down here in our area, there's not as many registered, but that is starting to take off as well. And I think a lot of that is due to the shows that are now starting to come available down here. Before, you would have to travel to the Houston, Dallas, San Antonio area to be able to show the registered goats. But now we have that show down here. And we're also starting, well, we have an organization down here, the RGV Dairy Goat Association. And our goal is to start a couple of, to have some more sanctioned shows so that people with registered goats can show down here. But there is a variety down here, and I do feel like there is a niche for it, and it's really starting to take off.
When you transitioned from the meat goats to the dairy goats, was there a big learning curve as far as your feed program? And what feeds are available to you in your area?
There is a huge learning curve. Just the pure selection of animals is a huge learning curve. My eye has been trained for market goats for the last 6 to 7 years. So looking at dairy goats, it's completely different. Their structure is different. You are looking, you're not just looking at the structure of the animal and the quality there. You're also looking at the udder, which is something obviously in a meat goat you're not looking at. But huge learning curve. And then as far as the feeding program, yes, a very huge learning curve. We feed a lot of our market goats, packing on muscle, doing that kind of thing. With the dairy goats, it was learning how to feed to give them the nutrition that they needed, especially for when they're, producing milk, or whenever they're, in their last 8, month or so with the kidding. We don't want them to get too big. Whereas meat goats, you want them to get as big as you can. So we did. Down here, there's a large variety of feed, but it is kind of tough because it's not a huge market down here yet. But we personally feed the Purina. We use the parlor feed. We also use some of their other grower feeds for the younger ones. We've also learned from several breeders, as far as the dairy goat breeders, to add in other nutritional things to the feed. So we have those things available, like the cotton wool seeds we add to some of the feed. We add the black wool sunflower seeds, alfalfa pellets, and then the beet pulp. So all those things are available. We have great feed stores down here, and if they don't have it, they get it for us. So I think as far as the feed goes, as long as you know what you want, you can get what you need down here. So that's nice.
One of the things that the Florida breeders, specifically in Georgia area, talked a lot about was dealing with the humidity and the heat in the barber pole and parasite stuff. Do you have
Mhm.
similar issues in Texas, or at least in your part of Texas?
I've not really experienced a lot like the barber poles or anything like that. We do keep our goats, pretty, we have to watch. We do a lot of dry lotted feed. I don't know if that's what they do there or not. They might have a lot of luscious green grass, but down here it's hot, it's dry a lot. So we do a lot of hay supplementals and, the alfalfa hay. We don't have a lot of free grazing all the time. So I don't know if that kind of keeps some of ours down. And we do try to back away from over treating, which I think a lot of the dairy goat breeders do. You want to treat, as needed. Of course, except for once the mama's kid, we do a quick worming because of the susceptibility of a worm overload. But personally, we haven't had huge issues with any of that. We do have a lot of heat, but the humidity is not that bad down here. We did just have a rough patch, which I think everybody did with that cold blast, because down here we are not used to the cold. Everything we have set up is built so that you can cool your animals, because it's so hot all the time. I'm talking like 100-degree weather for a huge part of the year. And when we had that cold snap, it was really hard on a lot of us. A lot of us down here are trying to make shift to move animals to where they're warm. We had several animals housed in the garage just because our barn areas and stuff like that are not made to keep them as warm as we needed for all that long period of time. So down here, it's mainly the heat, not so much humidity, because we don't get as much rain either, I guess would be our thing.
Do you breed for show season?
Yes, this is more or less our peak show season. We have, like I said, we have a show down here, the RGBLS show. It's the Rio Grande Valley Livestock Show. And it is March, always spring break week. And it's right around when Houston is. So personally, that's when we like to breed, is so that we have mamas kidding, January, February, so that their, udders are nice and full bloom. For the shows. Our goal was to show at Houston this year, but of course the dairy goat show was canceled. We are actually taking a market goat there, but the dairy goat show was canceled. So we will only be showing at RGBLS. And we're actually looking to possibly, we showed at a show this past fall. So we had breeded a couple of our does a little bit earlier. We had one that kidded in October, and we showed at a show in December. It was called Deck the Stalls. And that was a great show. It was put on in Brenham by a couple of breeders there. So that was a fun show. We might do that again this year. And I think most breeders, we look at what shows we want to go to and kind of plan our breedings around that time. So that's what we're learning to do. Like I said, we're still new, still learning a lot. So that's kind of how we plan it out. And hopefully we get to show some of our bucks this year. That's what we're looking forward to.
Have you ever shown or attended the Houston Livestock Show prior to this year? Or
No, I personally have not. One of the does that we owned, she did show at the Houston Livestock Show and was reserve Nigerian there. So we're super excited about her this year, showing her. But we personally have not. Several of the breeders down here who we get advice from and who, we've become really good friends with, they've shown there. We watched the show last year. The last year that they actually had, we watched it online a little bit. So that was really neat.
Is there a pretty large dairy goat presence at that show, or are there other species of animals or meat goats or whatever that are more the primary focus of that event?
I think that the dairy goat show there is still growing. I don't think it's as large as like the market goat show. I know the market goat show, like there's 70 goats per class, and you got several classes. And with the dairy goat shows, there's not that many numbers there per class. Although there's high quality with both. I mean, even though you may not have the large numbers, there's the quality is amazing when you go to these shows.
So besides these couple March shows, what do you do anything more with the youth stuff like 4-H or local county fairs or state fairs, that type of thing?
So we compete in our county show, but our county show does not have the dairy goat show yet. Hopefully that's something that we can add. Like I said, the Rio Grande Valley Livestock Show, that's a local show down here for us. It is only our 4 counties down in the Rio Grande Valley. And my kids compete with that. They're all in 4-H and FFA. So they compete. My oldest daughter is going to be taking 6 dairy goats to that show. My middle daughter will have 4, and my youngest, who's super excited to be showing this year, is going to have 3 at that show. And honestly, my youngest, out of all the animals that we do, the dairy goats are her favorite. She doesn't really have the passion for the market goats and all the other market animals like my older ones do. She absolutely loves the dairy goats. So I'm excited for her to this kind of be her adventure as well. But we do plan on participating in more shows this summer. We're hoping that we can go, the bucks are a little bit easier to show because I'm not having to make sure that their udders are, maintained. And we've got some really quality bucks that we're hoping that we can get in the show ring. And I'm sure they'll be ready to get all that hair knocked off and get some good baths. So
Yeah.
we're excited for that. So
one thing, my family, I have 3 children, and I'm very into the goats, and they are too. And we keep a pretty small herd because we're in a pretty suburban area. And I find that it's this constant balance of trying to help everyone reach their own personal goals with our herd. And this balance of who we keep and who we sell and how much input the kids have versus me. How do you feel about how that dynamic works in your herd with having 3 girls that are all interested in showing?
Oh, it's tough. And, like this kidding season has really been one that we're kind of filling that out. Last year it was pretty simple. We only had 2 senior does, and then we had 2 kids. Both kids, we had a lady who sponsored one of our senior does, and the part of the sponsorship was that we give back one of the kid does, so we gave one back. Well, this year, of course, all the kids are fair game. And we've already made a deal. We're not keeping any bucks or any males. So, they're either going to get weathered, or if they were what we feel of quality or came from mamas who had good genetics and the abilities, then we would allow them to go intact. So all the bucks, we've, pretty much that's a deal. But as far as the does, we're still kind of working that out, determining if we're keeping does, we're going to have to either let some of the mature ones go. So it's a work in progress with us. I do kind of feel like I have the final say, and, I have to all the time tell the girls, look, our goal is to produce good quality. So if we have ones in there that are not producing the good quality, or ones that are just not making the cut, then, we need to cut them from our, show string, basically, because that's our ultimate goal, is to have quality show animals that produce quality, milk. So if they're not doing that, then, we need to move on and find something better. So it's tough, especially with 3 girls who play the heartstrings all the time. So I just have to, it's a constant reminder that, we have to look at it. It's a business, it's something that we're trying to make sure that we produce quality. We want to keep our names good. So I don't know how you do it, but we're still learning.
Same thing over here. It's part of the life lessons that we're trying to teach the kids. Number one, to constantly be trying to improve and do better and have those goals. And so, part of it's just instilling that mentality, whether it's with the goats or with their schoolwork or whatever it is, you give it your best if you're going to do something. Um, I think it's probably a good thing for our family that we have a limited amount of space to work with, because the kids know that we can't keep around. Oh, we'll just keep this extra one. We'll keep that extra one. This one's my
Right.
favorite. Maybe we don't bring, we don't have rooms to keep pet weathers.
As well, we're
Mhm.
limited on space. We don't have tons of space either. I remind the girls we have this many pens. And
Mhm.
remember, whenever the weather goes south and we're trying to shuffle animals, the more we have, the harder it gets. So, yeah, I think that, my oldest gets it more so, but she's 15. The middle one's starting to get it. And the youngest, actually, I think my youngest sometimes, yeah, mom, we got to cut that one. And that's fine, so
Mhm.
it's
Yeah, no,
crazy.
it's just another part of, I think, them growing up and maturing. And I find the same thing as the kids get older, they get more competitive. They start to understand that every year we're going to have new babies. They're all cute. We can sell all the babies. We'll have more babies next year. So that is something that we have also dealt with in our family. And I feel like there's a lot of good life lessons that come from it. And those are hard decisions. And it's not the same as having a family dog until it dies. We're
Right.
breeding. And I feel like, at least for my family and my herd and our goals, a responsible breeder is always trying to improve. And,
Right.
you might have really bad quality goats, you might have awesome quality goats, but you should always have a goal and you should be breeding towards that. And that's the one thing I think I want my family to take away from it, is the responsible thing to do if you're bringing lives into this world is to try to do it the best you can. Because there's always going to be animals that
Right.
don't pan out, even in the top herds. You can ask any breeder, you can breed the best of the best, and sometimes it just doesn't work out. And that's having goals and having good genetics and trying to move forward. So I've really enjoyed, at least in my family, having the goats as a learning tool for a lot of things: the wins, the losses, the humility when you're doing well, and the good attitude when you're not doing good. And for us,
Right.
it's been a huge part of helping them become who they are. Do you find that with your girls as well?
Oh, 100%. Yes. We started, like I said, with the market goats, and we were horrible. We knew nothing. My daughter was last place every time. But we've improved over the years. But when sometimes we still don't meet our goals, whether it be with the dairy goats or the market goats or whatever. But she remembers, okay, so it's okay. Today it was not my day. That's fine. Dust myself off and I'll move on, and, on to the next one. So they do. She knows how to lose gracefully, but she knows how to win humbly too. And that's something I feel like all of them have learned, just by participating. They work hard, and, even though they know that they've worked hard, they might not reach their goal, but they're getting closer to it. And there's another chance. So, I mean, they're out here, they milk goats twice a day. They're feeding goats. They're, working goats. I mean, it's a constant battle, but yes, I feel like their character is there. And, my kids are the first ones to go help somebody, or to tell somebody it's okay. You maybe didn't reach your goal today, but you will.
In Texas, has COVID inhibited a lot of growth for your girls this year, or have they still found
Well,
opportunities to participate?
Well, surprisingly, we have actually still gone to several shows. Like I said, we went to that show in December, Deck the Stalls. We did do the social distancing. We wore the mask. My kids also do the market goats. So we have gone to a ton of prospect shows for that, and we wear the mask and we do the social distancing. So we have been impacted somewhat because the feel of the shows are completely different. Obviously, you have the mask on. Sometimes it's hard to even see the people, like I'm pretty sure I walked past people I knew who I just didn't recognize because they had a mask on. But, and you don't have the crowds. So when you're in the arena, the crowds aren't there. So it is different. But I feel like my girls have still been able to do and participate and still have the responsibility of their animals. So
Now that we're starting to get into 2021 show season, things seem to be turning up a little bit, hopefully in the COVID department. What are your goals for this year?
So our main goals, obviously we have that show here in March coming up and we'd like to do well. We'd really like to just get some good feedback on a bunch of on our herd. We are participating in the milk testing. So we'd like to get a couple of our girls their milk stars this year. And I think they have the potential to do that. And then we'd really like to do LA scoring. I don't know if that'll take place, but we are, a performance herd registered with AGDA. So we're really hoping that we will get that opportunity. But if not, then we'll just push forward and hopefully we can do it next year.
Okay. If anyone would like to learn more about your herd, do you have a website or a Facebook page or anything you'd like to share?
We do. We actually have a Facebook page. It's Tread Farm. And then we also have a website. It's www.treadfarm.com. The name Tread doesn't really have a huge meaning other than all the letters are letters of all of our, there's 5 of us in the family. So each letter represents our name. So it's Tiffany, Riley, Emma, Abby, and Danny. So that's where we got the name Tread. That's how we named it. So we do have a website. You can go to the website and it's still kind of fairly new. It's always, a work in progress. And we did just have some kidding. So we do have some things that we need to change. But for the most part, most of our senior does and our junior does are listed. And some of those junior does are now senior does because they've, freshened and had babies. So take a look at it. And, if anybody's interested, always feel free to reach out and contact me either through Messenger or my number's also listed on the website and on our Facebook page. I feel like we're always learning, always something new. This year has been full of learning opportunities for us. We had a doe who kidded during the freeze and she had quads. It was a highly anticipated kidding. And unfortunately, 2 of them were born so fast that she didn't get them cleaned in time and we weren't able to catch it. And then the other one, because of the cold, didn't make it. So we have one beautiful doe that's left from that kidding. So we learned so many lessons during that time. And then soon after that, we had a first freshener kid with 5, and we're learning so much from that as well too. With a mama who's not really taken to one of them out of all 5 of them, but at least she's taken care of 4. So just a lot of learning opportunities for us this year, and it's been fun. My girls were here when the mama had the 5, and my husband and the girls all assisted with the delivery while I was gone. So huge success and a huge milestone for all of us to know that they can all do it without me here. And maybe I might have a little labor and delivery nurse in the future with my middle one who really takes to it. So lots of great learning opportunities. I just say to everybody who dives into, just dive in, get in the show ring and just, don't hesitate. Just get out there and get out of your comfort zone and reach out to your fellow goat breeders, because what I've learned is everybody is there to help each other. If you ever have a question for me or any of the other breeders, people don't hesitate to give you an answer. I mean, that it's such a great community, and people are always there to help each other. So,
well, thank you very much for taking the time to share with us today. We learned something new once again. It's been wonderful kind of getting some insight on how things operate in your part of the country, because it varies so greatly that it's been really interesting even to kind of just discuss things from around the United States. So I
right.
really, really appreciate you meeting with us and sharing, and good luck with your show season.
All right. Thank you. You too.